Hello and welcome everyone to today's special podcast seminar, your space for meaningful conversations, inspiring ideas, and postgrad planning. I'm Mary.
And I'm Susie. We are thrilled to be your MC today. Whether you are tuning in live or catching this later, we are so glad that you are joining us today.
That's right. Today's seminar is all about something close to the heart of many final year students.
Taking a gap year after architecture school, but doing it in a way that's not just restful but transformative.
Architecture school is very intense. Studio nights, deadlines, critics, we've all been there. So when graduation hits, many of us feel the urge to take a break. But what if that break could also build you?
A gap year can be more than a pause. It can be a space for reflection, exploration, and growth. And today, we are going to explore how to do that with intention.
So here's how today's talk will flow. We'll introduce our guests in just a moment, then dive into some meaningful questions about how to approach a gap year, from self discovery to gaining real world experience, and even preparing for your future path.
So we'll also be taking a few audience questions at the end, so stay with us. And if you're watching live, feel free to type your question in the chat anytime.
And now we'll welcome our guest for today, Mandy, who took a transformative gap year after graduation school with a vision.
Welcome, Mandy. We're so excited to have you with us today.
Thank you, Mary and Susie. It's such a great honor. Last year, exactly this time, I was doing seminar Carnival too, but this year, as a guest speaker. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you.
Today I will talk a little about how I transform my gap year into something meaningful. So, okay.
Okay,
Some of
so
you might.
before we jump into today's main program, let's get to know our guest a little better.
So, like for those who you may not know, Mandy is an alumni of SoA+D who graduated last year in 2024, who makes the most out of a gap year.
Um, okay, I'm gonna introduce myself a little bit. So I'm Mandy. Some of you might know me, some of you might haven't. So I graduated from SoA+D last year, and then I took a gap year, and right now I'm preparing to pursue my graduate studies for fall 2025. And it's really nice to be here, being able to share my experiences, the challenges that I have faced during my gap year.
Yes, and Mandy has participated in leadership programs across Asia and also got an offer from the University of Manitoba for the master program in architecture. So let's start from the beginning. So, Mandy, what did you do right after graduation, and what was your first step during your gap year?
Like I have shown here, like is it job or grad school? I think it is the questions that most students who are about to graduate would ask themselves. So I did also ask myself, like, how did I know what I want? And it's not like I didn't search for jobs or anything like that. During the time when I was doing my thesis, I also tried to find jobs, like permanent jobs in Thailand, because me being as an international student with the language barriers and the visa complications and everything, it was hard for me to get a jobs. And also I asked myself, what do I want to do if I did not land in any job? So the answer is yes, I want to go for grad school, but preparing for grad school is such a rigorous journey. So I cannot go to grad school right away. I finish SoA+D. I know that I needed time to prepare well, because the undergraduate studies at SoA+D was quite intense already. So I know that I cannot balance between my ongoing thesis and my grad school applications. So yes, I took a gap year, and at the same time, I also looked for the job, but landed in some like part-time gigs, and I have been doing until today, and it's been going great. And today I want to share some tips on how I do those things. So yeah, I think it is quite normal for a student who is graduating to ask these questions. And how did I know is first, why do I want to go for grad school is I have been in Thailand for nearly 6 years. So this is my 6 years. I know that I have to jump out of my comfort zone, go for somewhere, and I always know that maybe I should go for an English speaking country. So I think this is everything started.
So like there's always a question looming like job or grad school. So from your experience, what should students consider when making that choice?
I think it really depends on the individuals. I have mentioned a little bit about how I came up with the graduate school idea. So if you're planning to go for jobs, like, okay, you want to gain experiences first, grad school later, it's totally okay. Try to uh, find jobs that suits you, that suits with your taste, and also plan ahead. So we try to search for jobs right out of schools. Sometimes we couldn't find it. Sometimes we have to take for like 2 to 3 month breaks before landing into a job, and it's totally okay too. So and even if you're applying for jobs, I think it is really good to apply for one or two grad school just in case that okay you don't want to do the job anymore, or maybe you just want to study again after taking for like a few months break. So what I suggest is it's really a nice idea that you search for schools ahead. Um, just apply for 1 to 2 school. It doesn't have to be anything serious. For example, if you get a certain scholarship, you can always go, right? And on
Mm.
the applying for graduate school parts, it's not like you shouldn't search for any job. Since you're out of school, it is quite understandable that we want to be financially independent because money is a big problem still when you graduate. You want to support yourself. So if you're planning to go for graduate school, search for jobs that you don't need to commit. For example, it is even okay if you're planning to go for a normal office 9 to 5 job, but make sure
Mm.
that your supervisor know that you're planning to go for grad school so that you won't be working here in the long term. Or it's okay if you're like me who are not working a normal office job. There are a lot of platforms that you can work, for example, Upwork, Fiverr, or even your local networks. So I think it is a balance of both. It's not either job or graduate school. You can do both, but you have to find a balance. So if you're planning to work full time, it is okay, go for it. But if you're planning for grad school, you also need some money, some gigs to support yourself. So yeah, my suggestions would be first you have to know what you want to do, what you really want to go for. And the second is if you have decided, try to focus on one thing, and then yeah, try to find a balance in between.
I see. So let's begin with our first topic, part-time gigs. These are often the most flexible and accessible ways to stay engaged professionally during your gap year. So could you tell us a bit about your experience with your part-time opportunities?
Actually, I did a lot of gigs. This is my timeline to give a very general ideas. So after finishing SoA+D, after finishing thesis and exhibition and everything, I was lucky that my former boss, where I interned in Chiang Mai, he contacted me that he got a grant to build migrant school in the borders area, and my thesis was about researching about the borders areas of Thai Myanmar as well. So he first contacted me and told me if I'm interested to be a part of his team, but not as a designer, but more like a research assistant, because I have already done intensive research about these areas back in my thesis. So he was like, if it's okay if we collaborate. So I did that project. I did not participate as a designer, but more like doing like surveys, interviews with the users, the local communities, and also referencing my thesis. So I was really honored to be a part of this because I felt like my thesis was turned into something useful and quite applicable in the real world as well. And after finishing that, I only did like for a month. It's more like a project base. And after that, I started my freelance design job. It's not an architecture firm, but more like an outside source where they told me to come up with a design proposal for an eco-friendly village in Chiang Mai. And I did that for a few months from July until like October. After October, I sort of become like jobless. And this is one thing that I want to point out is that if you're doing gigs, it is really normal that sometimes you don't have any job at all or that your income isn't stable. So this is something that you have to be mentally and financially prepared. So during the time, I think from October until December, I started a new job, but it was only for a part time. So I started doing as a research assistant back at my university. But during that time, I only started with part time because I did not know what I was going for. So what I did is that I during these 3 times, it was also the time of a grad school application. So I was pretty occupied with the application as well. First, I set for IELTS exam. That exam, you guys know, is already intensive. So I prepared for like a month or two. And in December, where all the applications start, so I was quite busy submitting those applications because each schools require different requirements, different documents. So yeah, for these 3 months, even though I was doing something, but on the financial wise, I was a little bit struggling, to be honest. And in December, I got a chance to go on a family trip, and I think this is something quite important to us too. During a gap year, I think it's really important to spend time with your family because now that you have flexible time, I know that I'm going for grad school. I'm going somewhere very far away, so it's quite important for me to spend time with my family, and I'm glad that I did. I really had a very good time with them. And after that, my part-time job turned into a full-time job, and I have been doing that ever since. But I am very glad that that job is quite flexible, and I'm really grateful for my advisor to giving me this opportunity as well. So the main takeaway from my timeline is that sometimes the gigs are not stable and the incomes are not stable too. And this is something that we have to be prepared for, not only mentally. Sometimes you have a lot of projects. When the money comes in, you feel happy, and suddenly they just disappear. So we have to be prepared for that aspect as well. So.
And also, can you tell us about your own experience using platforms like Upwork or Fiverr or even design specific ones?
Yes, I tried both Fiverr and Upwork, and I have some comments on these platform as well. So I only used that platform for like a month or two. I felt like I should have given more time, but since I landed on a permanent, like a full-time job, I stopped doing. So I first started my project on, I think, Upwork, and the first project that I ever got is writing an article for a design magazine. So it's not really like a design job, but I'm glad that I did the project because the the work demand isn't a lot, and I had so much fun writing the articles. And for Fiverr, I got one project, and the pay was well, and the client told me to build an extension of his house using the containers. I think the work only took me like a week or two, and the client was quite friendly as well. So I try both of the platform, and each platform has their pros and cons. And in addition to that, what I would suggest is your connections matter too. So these platforms, you have to pay percentage of your project to those platforms. I think around 10%. So if you have your connections on your own, it's great. You don't need to, you don't need any mediums to sell your service. So I think Fiverr, Upwork, your connections, it all matters in finding the gig. Okay.
And
So, which of these do you think are the most effective for architecture grads or creative professionals, and why?
The one thing that I like about these platforms are that these platforms have, for example, if you're a designer, there are a lot of design job. Is it interior? Is it landscape? Is it project management? So it's quite first, and you can sign up for anything, and you can find your passions doing those small gigs. And it requires less commitment as well, so you can try just a little bit about everything. So for example, even if you are an architecture student, you can always try for interior design, and you might like it. Sometimes it's not even like architecture related job, it's just design, like graphic design, and you can try it. So if the client likes you, they will tell you to submit a part of your design portfolios. If they like you, they will contact you. So I feel like there is a lot freedom, and the commitment time I think max is like 1 month or two depending on how big the project is. So for somebody like me who cannot do committed job because of the time limits, I find it quite useful with these platforms. Yes.
so any advice or like reflex that students should be aware of when like applying for these like part-time jobs?
Yes, I have some comments from these two platforms. Oh, the first thing is Upwork. So when you start working for Upwork, they call it connects, and you have to find these connects using your card. And from these connects, you have to bid. So the clients would choose the highest bidder. Most of the time, the clients will choose the highest bidder, and then um, you get the project. So if you do not have enough connects, you have to buy, and it's in a nutshell, it's quite competitive. It's really also depending on how much money you can spend on the bidding in addition to your skills and your portfolios. So I have spent some money buying connects as well. Sometimes you get it for free, but most of the time you have to buy it. And if sometimes even though I try to set the bid high, I didn't get a project, so it's a loss on your end. For Fiverr, they do not require such things. You have to just upload your gig. But the thing is, Fiverr need times. You have to commit like 5 to 6 months in order to get your audiences. So I sort of prefer Fiverr to Upwork because I got one project, and I think the Fiverr took around like 10%, which is quite a lot. But still, when I tried to withdraw the money, the transactions was really smooth. So I think it is one of the good things about Fiverr. But one thing is, it's really hard to get engagements in Fiverr. Like I have mentioned, you need time. For Upwork, you can go out and sell yourself, buy bids, so you can approach to the clients. But for Fiverr, the clients approach you. So I think these are the differences between these two platforms.
I see. So, next up, it's leadership programs, and these aren't just resume boosters. They can really reshape how we lead and work with others. So, in your view, what should students look for in a leadership program since you've been to many leadership programs across Asia? And how can participating in one impact their future career?
So I have participated in two leadership programs. The first one is called Southeast Asia Youth Camp 2024, hosted in Taiwan, and another one is Australia ASEAN Youth Leadership Forum, 2024. It was hosted in Ho Chi Minh. So I'm gonna start with how I got the idea to participate such programs. I think I was doing thesis. I think actually last year around this time, April, I was still doing my thesis, quite busy. And one of my friend, he told me, why don't you apply for these programs? Because you're gonna finish schools, and these programs start in like July. So I think he's told me that it would be a great opportunities for me to, connect with people, go out in the world, and also travel, of course. And I look at the application, and first I was like, okay, their topics are mostly about international relation, diplomacy, public relation, sustainability, technology. So I felt like back then they're not really my jam. I'm an architecture student. All I know is design, so I was quite worried that I might not fit into it. But yeah, and also another topic that the programs look for is about human rights. And during the time, I was doing my undergraduate thesis about displaced communities in borders areas. So I took that opportunities and applied for it. We have to make like a short videos and a small essay. So literally, I wrote about my undergraduate thesis, and I'm really glad that I got into. And on top of that, the program directors contacted me whether I would be interested to be a panelist during the event, and I thought, okay, let's do it. But during the time, there were five panelists, including me, three from Taiwan, and they are already they all are youths because the dialogue was about multi-generational human rights across Asia. So there were three speakers from Taiwan's, and one from Vietnam, and from Myanmar it was me. So I was quite nervous at first because they're already expert in their own fields. I have very little knowledge about human rights, but what I did is that I still true to myself. I only share about my experiences visiting these displaced communities, what I thought about these issues from an architecture student's perspective. And I'm very glad that even though I'm not really from the IR or public relations or diplomacy, these backgrounds, I'm really glad that I could find the intersections between architectures and other fields as well. Yes.
So, like, what are some of the top skills that these programs are looking for?
Skills, like I have mentioned, I felt like you have to still true to yourself because these programs look for unique individuals. You do not have to be like a top student at school, but they are looking for people from diverse background with very unique, interesting stories. They're looking for delegates across ASEANs. So if you are doing projects relating to your countries or ASEANs, they would be quite interested, and they would definitely call you to be participate in one of the conferences. And I feel like another skills that we need is um, speaking, because all these um, conferences and programs are all about connecting each other. So you have to know how to talk to these people. You have to know how to initiate conversations, share your knowledges, and also try to learn from other people, because these delegates, they all come from different backgrounds with different stories. So it's really important how to talk to these people and how to find connections. Most of the time, we're not from same backgrounds. Some are from teaching backgrounds, some are from diplomacy background. Like me, I'm from design background, but we can always find the intersections among these fields.
I see. It was very inspiring to hear all your experience in these leadership programs. So now let's dive into the world of writing, public and shine. Whether it's a blog or a publication or an academic journal, writing can be a powerful outlet. So could you share with us about your writing projects during your gap year?
Oh, yes. So for the past 5 years during my design school, mostly what I did was designs, architecture, but I have always read writings. So I think during the gap year, I try to find my hobby again to write. So the first platform that I would suggest is these leadership programs. The leadership programs always tell you to write one essay, and they will help you publish your essay in their platforms. So I think it's a great opportunities because these organizations are already credible. So and it's quite convenient as well. For example, for my first uh, program that I attend to, they told us to write an essay after finishing the leadership program. So it's more like a reflection. And for that, it's on my screen. This is my essay that I wrote to them, and I was selected as one of the best. So I was featured on their newsletters and in their website as well. So I think it's already a good platform that I could publish my piece. And another thing on the right, you'll see it is from another program. For them, they told us to write an essay before along with the application. So they read your essay, and if they like it, they submit it. So for the another my second published piece, I wrote about digital diplomacy. Uh, the how I got this idea to write this topic is quite interesting as well, because during my first conference, we talked a lot about digital diplomacy, and then I used that idea to write an essay for another conference. So in a way, that the first program that I attended sort of helped me got into the another one. At the time, I wrote about the digital diplomacy between Australia and the ASEAN countries, and particularly focusing on my country, Myanmar. So yeah, these for somebody like us who just fresh out of school, do not have any platforms or do not know any platform where to publish our pieces, starting from these organization is a good way. And but if you know any professor who would like you take you in as a research assistant and want to publish a piece, it's also great. But for somebody who is also from design background, who is not really from writing background, publishing into academic journals is going to take time because it needs a lot of frameworks, like a lot of citations. So, but if you have a professor who will help you uh, who will help you publish these pieces, happy to take you as a co-author, I would suggest just go for it. It's a very good way to, promote yourself as a writer as well.
So like, how can writing, whether blogs or essays, like really enhance a grad school application or a professional resume? Can you share about it?
Uh, it is quite important because when you go for grad school, it's more than just GPA or your portfolio that matters. Some of the graduate school, they told you to submit your writing piece because they want to know if you are a good writer or not. Because grad school, it's not all about designing as well. You have to make some published piece, so the admission officer makes sure that you have certain writing skills. So it doesn't matter what you write. It's all they what they look for is your writing styles and whether you are a good writer. So this is what I did as well. For the past 5 years, I had only my transcript GPA at my portfolio, and I always know that it's not enough. And I also, along with my grad school application, I submitted some of my published piece and they liked it. And also I got a chance to put in my CV as well that, oh, okay, I have done these small publications, even though it's not on the academic journals levels. Yes.
See, so like if someone would like to publish, which platforms would you recommend in your opinion? Like should you go with Medium or Substract or maybe academic journals?
Well, like I have mentioned, start with some of the organizations that you know, if they are willing to help you edit, or if you can publish a piece. And there is one platform that I submitted, but I didn't get a chance to publish. It's because of my personal reason as well. So what I did is I wrote my first draft and then I submitted to them. They asked for any photos that I want to include along with the articles, whether the photos were taken by my side by myself or I took it from somewhere. So I have to compile all the sources that I took and then send it to them. And then they send it to the editor team. I think it's took around 3 to 4 weeks, and the editor can get back to you. And then look at the editor comments and you can fix it. And then you submit back to the platform. So it's about going back and forth. It's not like you wrote it alone and then you publish it. There should be someone who could guide you and who could, um, because the first draft is always shitty. That's why we call it the shitty first draft. So there will be several drafts and it's totally okay, but there should be people who should help you along the way. And for me, the reason why I didn't publish is because I think this is another important fact too. Some of the platform they have their own certain styles, and for me, they sent back the comments, but I look at it and I felt like this is not the direction that I want to go for. They have some certain framework, so I decided not to publish. But I think it's totally okay too. At least I got an idea of how it looks like, how to submit your published piece, how to pitch your ideas. So I think it was a good try for me.
So, like, how do you pitch articles or essays to an online publication or editorial team?
Um, I think this is basically what I have covered just now. So
Mm.
you don't need to go for academic journals, Google Scholars, those platforms. What I suggest is start with a small platform that you feel comfortable, and then from there you will start to gain your audience. There will be certain audience that like your published piece. So do not have to be something big. What I suggest is go from something small. Even it could be posts on Facebook. So it is totally okay. There will be audiences that like your piece and will like ideas from you. They will approach you. I think this is basically what I did as well. I started my Facebook page, and if people have questions, they just come and ask me. So just start with something small, and from there, you will get there. You will get to those academic journals levels. It just take times, and it's totally okay.
I see. So like what are the key elements of a strong personal statement or maybe in scholarship essay?
Key elements. I think it's already in the question. A strong personal statement. It has to be personal. It has to be about you. Admission officer has to read tons of essay for each intake, and they don't want to hear like very boring cliche stories. They only spent like a few minutes on your essay. I know that we put like months to write the essay, but the admission officer only spent like a few minutes and you have to capture his or her attention. So the reason to do that is be personal. We always have unique stories on our own. It could be about your family, it could be about yourself, or it could be an incident or an event as well. So try to keep it authentic. Try to add some personal touches in your essay, and the admission officer will definitely find you interesting.
That's a really great advice. So, lastly, like how can maintaining a blog or online portfolio help you like show your interest and expertise?
Okay, so this is not some promotions, but okay, I have been writing some articles on Facebook. So this is my page. I don't have that much followers or likes, but it's more like my personal documentation. It's more like self journaling. What I did is I tried to write down all the experience that I have faced while applying for applications or any external knowledge regarding applying for schools. So if people find it helpful, they just DM me and ask for further help. If not, it's okay. It's just my surf journals. So this is, but most of my audience are Burmese, so I write in Burmese. So you can also have a look at my page. I put a QR code there. If you can read Burmese, just go check it out. I think you will find one or two tips that might be helpful for you, and it is also for my personal journaling as well. One day I want to look back and see what I did, and also help people in a way.
So our next theme is a bit connected to what you've been talking now about your own blog. So the theme is all about the passion project, starting with your own initiative, however big or small it is. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to turn an idea into a real project during their gap year?
Yes, right out of school, we want to explore a lot of things. We want to implement our dreams or any projects that we have. And at the same time, I understand that we have limitations, starting with money. Money is quite important, and I understand it as well. I have faced it firsthand. So, what I would suggest is I have mentioned here find people who share the common interests. So, you cannot do it alone for all the projects. Try to find friends or partners that could do together with you. So even if this project isn't successful, you won't be the only person taking all the faults. So try to find people who can help you, who can guide you, and also who would share all the ups and downs with you. Another thing is reach out to people who can actually help you. There are people out there in the world who have enough resources that we do not have right now, and they will be more than happy to help you, whether financially or giving you advice. So you have to make sure that you reach out to them first. It's not like you can just sit and wonder about what you want to do. You have to actually go out in the world and connect to those people. And I'm sure that there will definitely people who are willing to help you. And another thing is you can always search for grants. Grants are a good way. You can come up with a very good proposal of what you want to do, and then the organization that you apply for will look at your applications, and if they like it, they will give you grants, and then you can start turning your passion into a real life project. So yeah, these are the two main tips that I want to advise everyone who wants to turn their passion project into a real life project.
Mm. So, what are the most common challenges students face when studying a project from scratch, and how can they overcome them?
I think the main challenges would be like we're fresh out of school. Sometimes we don't need to connect with people, and most of the time we don't have connections or network. Networking is really important when you are out of school, and that is something that I've been pursuing throughout my entire gap year as well. Because back in those schools, it's just you and your friends and your professor. You do not really know about the outside world yet. So after finishing school, what I would suggest is go to networking events, search for networking, search for connections, search for people who can give you support and also guide you. I think from there, things will turn out eventually. So the very first step is go out and engage with people.
So, like, how do you stay motivated and disciplined to complete a long-term personal project, like your own blog or something?
Okay, staying consistent is, I think it's everyone's challenge. I think it's also a big challenge for me as well. So the question is, how do I still disciplines? So looking back, so right now is 2025 April, and I'm planning to go for my grad school in August. So it's merely only like 3 months left. But looking back to what I did, like after finishing my thesis until today, it's a very long journey. It's been like 8, 9 months, nearly a year. So I look at myself, if I'm still in 2024 and look at my grad school journey, it's very long. It seems very tiring. So what I did is that I tried to break out into smaller goals, so that you don't feel tiring at all because you're accomplishing one goal bit by bit. For me, starting with sitting for the IELTS uh, make me quite stressful for like 2 months. So after finishing that exam, I took it out of my list. I feel satisfied, and then I try to reward myself that okay, at least the first step is done. So the second step is finishing all the applications. For me, I submitted 4 schools, and each school has different requirements, different documents. So submitting the applications took me around, I think, 1 or 2 months. Checking everything, whether if I'm missing something. Sometimes the documents didn't go through. You have to contact to the admission officer, those things. So after finishing everything, I think for me it was around early January. So I took out my list. Okay, at least I'm done with all the applications. And then around February to March, the result came in. I got my result in February, and okay, and I look at the schools of where I want to go, and then I selected that okay, I want to go to this university. So this is another goal done. So out of your list. And then after school, of course, there is visa left. Visa is a big headache for me, but I'm glad that that has been sorted out. But even the getting the visa, it requires sometimes more documents than submitting for schools. And you also have to make sure that you have very clear connections, your clear communications with your parents, because they are the one who is supporting you. So all those financials, papers, all those legal documents, actually, it is more frustrated than applying for a grad school, in my opinion. So I what I did is I break down into those smaller goals, and from these smaller goals, I took one thing bit by bit, and eventually I have got my visa, and I'm planning to go in August. Yes,
Oh, congratulations.
thank you.
It seems very yeah, it seems very motivational and like inspiring to hear about your breaking down the goals into small goals into your gap year. So as we wrap up, let's talk about something that many students have on their mind: how to transition from your gap year into a graduate school. We would love to hear about how you navigated that transition. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Navigation, I think it was quite rough because one day you were still a student, another day you become an independent soul, and your mindset changed to somehow, since you finished school, you want to be financially independent. So many problems came. You're not a student anymore, and you don't want to depend on your parents' supports. So yeah, these are some of the challenges that I face by myself. And then when you graduate, people will come and ask you, what are you going to do after graduations? And sometimes it is quite frustrating. I understand because sometimes we do not have no ideas. And it is worse for international students because we have visa issue. Okay, what kind of visa are we going to get to continue living here? Are we going to go somewhere? Are we going back to our home? So the transition is big. And in addition to this transition, since I'm planning to go for grad school, I make a list. By the time I finish SoA+D, I only have the first two, which is GPA and my portfolio. So I only have my transcript and my portfolios. My portfolio is still bad. It's quite chaotic. I haven't, make it properly yet because I just finished school. I haven't chosen what kind of project that I want to present in my portfolios. So I only have these tools. And essay, letter recommendations, comparisons, and published pieces, job references. These are all the things that I have to fill by myself. So it is quite a lot when you think about it. This is like 6 steps, and I have to fill all these 4 steps within 1 year framework. So it is hard, especially, for example, for writing essay, you have to find the resources on your own. It is unlike getting a transcript where you can just ask from your school and the school gives it to you, or the portfolio that you have already have that you prepare for the past 5 years. For essay, for letter recommendations that I want to suggest is that stay connected with your professor. They will be more than happy to write you recommendation letters. Finishing school doesn't mean that you have to get connections with the school. It's really good to be in touch with your professor who would write recommendations letters. And yeah, I have covered about conferences and published pieces. And last but not least is job. If you have some jobs, it is great. It can boost your resume, and at the same time the immigration officer likes it when you work, especially when that job is related to what you will be studying. So I think these are some of the main bullet points that will help you smooth the transitions from being a student to actually going in the real world and eventually going to a grad school.
That's quite a lot of work. So, what makes a strong master's application? Like beside good grades?
Okay. Grades, and for me, I was quite serious about my GPA too, during my school years. But there is something that my friend told me. I wrote it here. During school, the most that we can get is an A. So if you try hard, you will get an A. But after school, the skies becomes the limit. There's no A or B or any criteria that can send you. You become a unique individuals. So the harder you try for, the more that you can achieve. And also, when money comes in, you start to feel like when you try harder, when you seek for more opportunities, also the money will comes into. As a result, what happened is, you can burn out very easily. So during school, the only reason that we burn out is when we have a lot of deadlines, projects, and assignments. But in real world, it is more than that, because you becomes your own challenge. It's not like we're looking for certain criteria. Okay, I want an A on this project or B on this project. It's not like that anymore. The more opportunities that comes to you, do you become, I don't want to use the word greedier, but you somehow become that person, and sometimes you exhaust yourself out. So that's the worst. When you exhaust yourself, no one can help you. This is exactly what I felt for like 2 months or so. So, and one thing that I want to suggest is being ambitious, passionate is great, but at the same time, we have to know when to take a rest, because um, during school, the only reason that we burn out is deadlines. So when the deadline is over, it's over. The burnout part is done. But in real world, it is with you. So if you do not know how to control your emotions, it's not good for you in the long term. You will get tired at some point in the journey. So my suggestion is that just grab whatever comes to you, but don't bite more than you can chew. It is tiring in the long term, and this is something that I learned from my personal experience.
So let me ask the question for Mary. So how do you pick the right programs and like prepare mentally and practically for the process?
The right programs. So I'm planning to attend Master Architecture. Uh, it is quite simple for me because I study Bachelor of Architecture on the undergraduate level, so it's very normal. And for me to go for Master of Architecture, uh, I hope it is the right path for me, because I love architecture, and secondly, I think it's a very guarantee, um, how to say, occupations. So this is also the main reason why I want to go for a Master of Architecture. And of course, we have to prepare mentally and practically for this process, because architecture school is quite tiring. We all know that it's quite demanding. And even I asked myself, um, a few days ago that, okay, I have finish 5 years of design school, all those late night work, model makings, burnouts, and I asked myself, am I ready for another 2 years? But I'll see. But of course, we have to be mentally ready, not only on the school, but also for moving as well, because I'm moving to the other side of the world. So I think it would be a great challenge for me, a new environment, a new weather, everything's new. So this is something that we have to prepare mentally and physically as well.
So I would like to
Okay.
know, like, letters or recommendations are keys. Like, so how can student build or maintain strong relationships during the gap year that you have?
I think letter recommendation is key. Like it is a key. It is one of the biggest factor that contribute to getting into a very good school. So you have to make sure that have found any advisor that would be willing to write a recommendations letter for you, because your professor know you the best. So it doesn't have to be your professor. It could be your um, employer as well. But one thing you have to get have good relationships with them. So after finishing school, I really suggest to keep in touch with your professor, your advisor. They are the one who would be more than happy to write you a recommendation letter. You don't have to be a very top student. All these professor adjuncts, they're more than happy to write you one. So don't worry, just reach out to them and they will find time and write it for you. So, and like I have mentioned, it doesn't have to be your advisor. It's also good if you have an employer as well, because your employers knows you too. So keep in touch with people, don't lose contact, and also when you ask them for the letter recommendations, make sure that you plan ahead. And most of the time, the letter recommendation is not sent directly to you. The professor has to submit through a portal. So you have to make sure that the professor got the correct emails, got the correct portals, and it also, since it is submitted through a portals, it takes time to finally upload it.
Mm.
So most of the time, the school do not accept emails recommendations, and you're not allowed to read it. So make sure that
Mm.
you plan ahead. Otherwise, if there's no letter recommendations, it is um, you won't get into a school because it is one of the big factors in the college application.
So like having a good relationship with your advisors or like supervisor is the key, right? So like I
Yes.
think we have already touched on like this earlier, but let revisit. So what are the key elements of a compelling personal statement? Your personal statement.
Compelling personal statement. I put it here. It's already in the title. Personal statement. Be personal. Talk about you. Be authentic. At one point in your life, but they matters. Like I have mentioned, they're looking for unique individuals. These schools do not expect you to be like, 4.0 GPA students, a lot of good records. It's all about being you too. That's why be authentic, be you, and you will find the sparks between yourself. So I think this is my advice.
Yeah, like to be you, like yourself, true to
Yeah,
yourself.
be true to yourself.
So like now, let's take some questions from the audience. The first one is, what's one mistake you would advise everyone to avoid during their gap year?
I think I have mentioned it earlier. Like, do not buy more than you can
Mm,
chew. This is exactly what I did. There were points that I felt really stressed, like to the point where that I feel depressed, and it's not good for your people around you and also your family. Your family wouldn't want you to see you like this. Not getting into a school or not getting a job is not the end of the world. It's just a small delay. So it's great if the opportunities always come to you, but you have to filter out which would suit you, which you can do in the long term, or which are within your capacity. I think this is the one advice that I would want to give.
Yeah, can hear you.
Oh yeah, I can hear. Can you hear me as well?
Yes, we can. I think Mary's having mic problem.
Oh, okay.
So let's
Sh-
move on to second question. So like, is it better to plan in detail in advance or leave for spontaneous opportunities?
I don't want you to stick to one thing. I think it should be and instead of an or. So you should plan in
Mm,
details as well. So when I decided that I want to go for grad school, what I did is I did an Excel spreadsheet. So first, name of school that I want to go, the province, if you're applying for a different country, and their tuition fee, their deadlines, any certain requirements. So I make a list. So this is something that you should plan in details because different schools have different admission deadlines. Mostly, if you are going for fall, I think it's around December, January. But it really depends on the country too. Each country has very different timeline, so you cannot keep track of everything, especially if you are planning for 3 or 4 schools. So I think it's really important to keep in tap with all the school deadlines and also the tuition. Sometimes you really like the school, but if the school is out of your budget, this is something that you should know and put in the list as well. So this is something, some of the smallest details that we should do in advance. We cannot do it right away because like money thing, we have to plan ahead. We have to talk with the parents. We have to do some savings. We have to do some budget. So I think this is something that we have to do in way advance, like even way before starting the application. For leaving for spontaneous opportunities, like I have mentioned, you should always keep looking for opportunities that seek you. So I think it should be spontaneous as well. It's not like, okay, my ultimate goal is going into a grad school. I have already got it. My visa is done. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't do anything for the rest of the
mm,
months. For me, I have three
mm,
months. I'm still working. I'm still traveling, something like this. I'm giving time to my friends. So this is something that you should keep doing spontaneously, even if you have reached your biggest goal.
mm.
I see. So let's move on to another question. One of the audience would like to know where you have applied and why did you choose this specific school for graduate school?
I have applied to 4 schools. It's all in Canada. The first school is University of Manitoba, which I'll be going. The second school is Toronto Metropolitan University. I got in, but I decided not to go. And the third one is McGill University. I didn't get in, and this is a true story. You will apply to a lot of schools, and there will be some school that you didn't get in, and it's totally okay. And and the last one, I'm still waiting for it. It's called University of Waterloo. I think I still have a shot at the school, but since I have already decided to go to for University of Manitoba, and I have done all the visa applications as well, but I'm still waiting for that school to boost my confidence because that school is slightly competitive. So I want to see
Mm,
if I got into or not. But so far I haven't got anything back. I chose University of Manitoba specifically because one thing is professor connection. So right now I am working at SoA+D with one of my professor, and we are using a software for urban planning and sustainability. So that software is also using in at University of Manitoba. So KMUTT and University of Manitoba are like the 2 schools who are trying this software. So I'm also want to continue this project. So I think this is one of the main reason why I apply for the school, and also my top priority. And the second reason is budget. The school is quite internationally friendly, good for international students, and also comparing to other unis from other states, I think it is quite cheap and it is within the budget that I have estimated. So it is, yeah, it is one of the biggest uh, reason as well. And also for students who are planning to apply for grad school as well, money is really important. it is really important. I know that we all want to go to Ivy League schools, but those schools are really expensive. You have to plan your financially strategically, even if your GPAs are good, extracurriculars are good, but there is a money problems that are out of our control, right?
Hmm. So thank you for the answer. So another question from our audience is that did you consider taking another course for masters,
What do you mean by course? uh,
like
um,
maybe architecture or like maybe interior architecture or something?
I think I have already decided on my major. I'm going for Master of Architecture, but my professor suggested me is that since I'm doing some urban project right now, I can always take some subjects, some courses, and integrate into my major. So I can always take some courses from landscape or interior, and this is something that I'm planning to do as well for some elective courses. But for main studio courses, I think I'm going for architecture.
Architecture again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good to like widen your horizon, right? So another question is that how can you find mentors or networks during your gap year if you're not enrolled in a school or if you're not working at a company?
I think, like I have mentioned, conferences really help. It's literally a networking event, so you will find people who have resources, who are already expertise in their own particular fields. So those networking events really help. And another platform that you can find is your school. Do not forget your own schools, your professor who mentor you. It doesn't have to be your thesis advisor. It could be any teacher's professor that knows you. They should know you as well because they're writing letters of recommendations for you. So literally any teachers, professor, or your former employers who really knows you. So I think it's really important that you find mentors or network starting from these people.
So let's move on to another question. It's like the audience want to know that what was the most unexpected lesson you learned during this gap year?
Most expected lesson. Actually, I don't want to say most expected lesson because everything is very unexpected. Because um, before I finished school, I always thought that I would be, you know, working for a company for 2 years, and after that, I'm going for grad school. But somehow I shortened my gap year into 1 year because I want to leave and want to be out of my comfort zones and all. Also getting into the conferences as well. It is quite unexpected. Somebody who is from design background, not really familiar with these conferences, but yeah, I got in. I got a chance to connect to these people. I have built my network. So these are some of the unexpected lessons that I have learned along the way. They might be small, but eventually they make an impact on my life.
So they all are unexpected.
Yeah.
Talking about unexpected things, like how do you stay motivated when your gap year's plans doesn't go as you think you were?
Gap year plan doesn't go well. For me, my long-term goal, I think it went according to as I expected, but there were a lot of unexpected things along the way, starting with not getting my visa. So after finishing from SoA+D, my visa expired, and I had quite a struggles trying to get um, a visa that will allow me to continue staying in Thailand for a year or so. So I think this is one of very unexpected thing because I thought that I would be getting that visa for 1 year and after that I'm going. So there were a lot of bumps with all the legal documentations, also mentally as well, that didn't go expected as I planned. But eventually things turn out okay. Right now I got my stable visa and I'm still here. So one advice that I would give is do not lose heart. It is okay. There will be bumps along the way. Life is not a bed of roses. There will be people who will help you along the way. Even obtaining a visa for myself as well, I met a lot of incredible people who really helped me to get the visa that I need. So if you need help, seek for help. Don't be shy. You're not giving burden to people. Those people would be more than happy to help you. So this is one of my advice.
It is really inspiring to hear you saying all that, like how you overcame those struggles is really inspiring. And the last question that we have is like, the audience wants to know that have you have any regrets or like things that you would like to do better or like that you would like to fix if you were given another chance to redo your gap year?
I think I did not have any regrets that I have done during my gap year. There were a lot of questions that I asked myself, would I do things differently? For example, when I didn't get my visa, when my visa expired, then at that time I have to leave the country very immediately. Like I asked myself, would I apply for this certain type of visa, or would I go to another country, or would I go back home? But so far I didn't have any regrets. Even for small bumps, I didn't have any regret that I experienced this. This is some of the events are quite traumatic, but it's a life experience. So I don't think I would redo my gap year. So far it's been great. There were a lot of bumps, especially back in 2024, but right now we're in 2025. I think the plans that I had done, it's going quite well, at least for me. Yeah.
It's really great to hear all about your stories and your journey into the gap year and your plans going ahead. So, from freelancing to the leadership, writing, and passion projects, today's talk is all packed with real world advice.
So the big takeaway, your gap year can be more than just a break. It can be a blueprint for the future you want.
And now we will leave you with this quote: "The future depends on what you do today," by Mahatma Gandhi.
Thank you so much to Mandy and everyone joining us. Until next time, stay curious and have fun. This is Susie.
And
Thank
Mary
you for
signing
having
off
me
from our
too.
podcast seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.